trades have been dominating the winter meetings these last couple of days, and the Mets have now been brought up in a recent report that we could be trading for an all-star starting pitcher soon, with the Mets needing some front-end rotation help. We're going to get discussing on who it is and what it means for their pitching staff. What is going on, everybody? Good morning, and welcome to this edition of Mets Digest with your host, Michael DeAngelo. As you see on the screen, before I get started, we are at a little over 3.2k subscribers. You guys have been killing it recently with the support, the views, the subscribers. I thank you guys so much. Me and Flobo appreciate you guys to the moon and back. So, if you guys are looking for everything going on in the winter meetings and more, roster news, trade updates, trade rumors, free agency rumors, all of that, this is your one-stop shop for everything Mets baseball. We appreciate all the love, of course. I read all your guys' comments as well, so make sure you guys keep dropping your comments so we can get the discussions going down there, and let's get started. Now, this report comes from Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic. And this guy has been brought up in trade rumors recently a lot, but we weren't really sure if the Mets were going to be involved or not. I dropped in a couple of videos, when the winter meetings were first starting, that we should be in on somebody like this, and it has now been confirmed. Athletic's Ken Rosenthal this evening name checks two more clubs who have at least inquired about the veteran starting pitcher, and that is Luis Castillo. And I'll finish the quote later on, but as we know now, he is a 32-year-old former All-Star, last All-Star appearance being in 2023, and he finished last season with a 3.64 ERA. An ERA that was actually less than what he had in his All-Star season back in 2023. You see those home runs allowed at 25. He actually had 28 home runs allowed in his last All-Star appearance. So, different areas of improvement for him, to say the least. But when it comes to the report itself on what we know, that two more teams have inquired about him, and that is the Mets and the Orioles, the other team being the Boston Red Sox. With that said, however, he emphasizes that the Mariners are only willing to deal Castillo if the return package improves the big league club as they look to return to the postseason next year. Shout out MLB Trade Rumors for the quote from their article on Ken Rosenthal's report. Back over to Mr. Castillo. He made about 30 starts this year. He went 11-12, so one game under 500 on the record. Didn't make All-Stars this year, but still put together a pretty decent season. He pitched about 20 innings less than he did during his All-Star appearance with the Seattle Mariners last season. Now, this is a guy that the Mets are looking at to pretty much fill out their rotation for this season. We've already seen them make additions in the rotation, like Frankie Montas and apparently Clay Holmes, who will be a starter this year for us. So we are really looking for some front-end help to give Kodai Senga some extra ace help, as he really can't do it all out there rotation-wise. But if we were to pick up a guy like this, like Luis Castillo, and have a front end of the rotation being the likes of Kodai Senga, Luis Castillo, and David Peterson, and then with the rest being Montas and Holmes, that would be a pretty nice five going out there for opening day. So this is a guy that I would love to have, especially since he has 3 years left of team control. He will be a free agent again when he's 36 years old. We have to pay him around $24 million each in every single year until about 2027, where he does have a vesting option. So this is a guy that you could trade for, that you have under team control. He's a former All-Star. He's going to give you some big innings. He has very high-end ace potential. This is a guy that David Stearns is definitely looking for. Look, Corbin Burnes is going to be a tough get. You have a lot of teams going after him that are going to be throwing him a ton of money and looking at 5 to 6 year deals. We kind of know now that David Stearns isn't really the most fond of giving pitchers these long-term contracts. So if he's looking to keep going with that strategy, then trading for Luis Castillo might be one of his best options right now. Roki Sasaki is still a free agent, as we know. He's just been posted onto international signing boards, but it is most likely that he will not be signing a contract till around mid-January, like his agent said the other day during winter meetings. So Luis Castillo is next up on our radar as we are looking to unload some guys off of the farm system. But as we saw in that report right there, that the Mariners are going to be looking for major league ready guys to get in this deal because they're looking to make another playoff push. So guys come up like maybe Jeff McNeil, Luis Angel Acuna, and of course, you got to look at the pitching as well. Guys like Tyler McGill, maybe Paul Blackburn. Looking at McGill's stats on the year, we know that he wasn't the absolute best for us this year. A little above a 4 ERA, but he was able to eat innings at a very decent rate. With 16 games, he's been going in and out of the starting rotation and the bullpen, so it's been quite the bumpy road for him. But we could see him on his way out of here if, a trade for Luis Castillo were to happen. Another option, like I said before, is Paul Blackburn, who we didn't really get to see too much of last season. He ended up being injured with some arm injury that ended up sidelining him for the rest of the season. Never got to see him pitch in the postseason, but that is another guy who is under, a pre-arbitration type of contract for next season that you basically almost have to pay nothing. So, that's another thing that the Mariners could take on that they would be interested in, because it is now kind of apparent that it's difficult for them to take on the rest of Luis Castillo's strategy. Hence why we could trade for him at a not so expensive price, because we could take on that salary that Luis Castillo has, where, like I said, he's getting paid $24 million each of the next 3 years. So this could be a wonderful opportunity for us to not have to trade too many of our top prospects to acquire a 3-time All-Star. Now, trying to form a little opinion on this trade, I think we should try our best to stay far away from trading a guy like Luis Angel Acuna. I know his name has been coming up in a lot of trade rumors. We've seen him come up in the Garrett Crochet trade, which I'm glad, by the way, we did not end up doing that trade. Reports came out earlier that guys like Jet Williams and Brandon Sproat together were both in the asking price for Garrett Crochet. You don't even have to tell me who else was in the rest of that package. I would immediately be out. Brandon Sproat to me is untouchable, especially when we just lost guys like Mike Vassell, and we lost a couple other of pretty decent pitching prospects to the Rule 5 draft. Pitching prospects for right now are a little scarce for us. And I think, we have to keep a guy like Brandon Sproat. But Luis Angel Acuna, when it comes to him, I know, center field looks like it's filled right now with Jose Siri. Second base is filled with Jeff McNeil. But I just don't feel comfortable trading a guy like him, because if you were to trade Luis Angel Acuna for Luis Castillo right now, let's say it was just him in general, let's say it was just a straight up trade, then you're basically trading Max Scherzer for Luis Castillo. And you got to think about that, because we gave the Rangers Max Scherzer for Luis Angel Acuna. We took on most of Max Scherzer's contract so that we can get a top prospect like Acuna. And then now you're just going to ship him off to Seattle just to get 3 years of a coming up to a post-prime Luis Castillo. Something just is very unsettling about that with me. So if we were able to somehow put together a package like a Jeff McNeil, Tyler McGill, and maybe one other top prospect for Luis Castillo, that would be something more of my interest, especially now since Ronnie Mauricio is starting baseball activities. He's a guy that can play second base and be that DH. Luis Angel Acuna, who looks most comfortable at second base. Me personally, I would love to see him out there in center field. But for the comfortability of Mendoza out there with this defensive scheme, it might be the best for Angel Acuna to be at second base. So You got a lot of prospects to play with still. No trades have been made yet. We still haven't traded any big prospects, so maybe this could be the time. I would love to have a 3-time former All-Star on our team to fill out that rotation, because as soon as you make a trade like this, your rotation is pretty much set for the season. Yes, I would love an ace like Corbin Burns, but it seems like David Stearns isn't really the biggest when it comes to just having ace on top of ace in your pitching rotation, as I just hit my freaking headphone out of my ear. But I mean, it is what it is. You still need to spend big on your bullpen. So trading prospects for a guy like this and then spending the rest of your money on a bullpen and Pete Alonso, forgetting about him as well. Hopefully we have an update on him coming soon. You still got lots of money to spend. So if you're able to save some of that by trading for a guy like this, and then, seeing what happens with the rest of the pitching staff, this would be something of my interest. And I hope we could pull off a trade like this for Luis Castillo if the price is right. But let me know what you guys think about something like this and what we should be trading for him. But that is all I have for you guys here today on Mets Digest. Make sure you guys subscribe down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.